We are going to go through everything about this weapon in the video today, from the lore to the physical size, dimensions, weight, feel and touch of the sword. So strap yourself in, go get some healthy snacks, and let's get going with this review. Okay, so let's start with a bit of an introduction, and I do this for all the video reviews that I do. I had a really difficult time, maybe not with the Frostmourne, because this is the most famous replica that World of Warcraft did. But I do have this fine collection over here that I bought with my own finances, saving up for a lot of time to get all of these. And I want to provide some value for you who are so passionate about all of these weapons, or just want to spend some time on, getting a review of the swords. I have not found proper video reviews of all of these online, so I thought, now I bought them, I might as well just create something for the community out there. So if you're here to watch all of the reviews, I'm super happy you're here. Thank you for joining in, and check the channel. I do have reviews for the other weapons as well. So let's get going. I will do the weapon itself a bit later on, but let's start with the lore, because this is very fascinating, and probably you know it already, but let's have some thoughts about this. So this is Frostmourne, and this is a Mourne blade. The first official sword that that Blizzard Entertainment made, they made the epic sword, which was extremely expensive back then. I think it cost, for me, I was a kid back then. I think I was like 10 or 11, 12 years old. And it costed maybe $500 back then. That was the world to me. And I thought, when I grow up, I want to own that one. It just meant so much for me. And then I grew up and managed to eat just some oatmeal for a few months. And then I bought this a while ago. It's called a Mourne blade because what it does is it shatters and imprisons the souls of the victims it slays, and then it can raise those victims as undead. The Frostmourne was initially taken, or let's actually go back to the start, although it's retconned. But you know what? Let's start with the initial story, what we were informed before the jailer came in the picture. So this Mourne blade was initially taken from the Frozen Throne by the very first Lich King, and that was Ner'zhul. And then it was picked up by Arthas in Northrend. Arthas Menethil picked this up during the Third War, and he wielded it while he was an undead Death Knight, and also while he was the Lich King. Later on, actually, this one was destroyed, the Frostmourne, when we defeat the Lich King. And on top of the Ice Crown Citadel, the Lich King is shattered by another very famous sword, which is this one, High Lord Tyrion Fordring's sword, the Ashbringer. So the story went something like this. If I don't take care of this, I'm just going to destroy my entire filming setup over here. So I hope you appreciate the effort. I hope you appreciate the sheer amount of force you need to do this. Let's put this back and get back. Okay, so this was shattered by Tyrion Fordring. But then we had Shadowlands. And you know how much everyone loves Shadowlands. I think it's one of the best, collector's editions from World of Warcraft, just because of how this looks. I still have it in foil. The way this looks, I think it's amazing. I think it's their best collector's edition, because of, look at all this color. I probably will make a review of this. I don't have it unboxed, but So this is Shadowlands. And as much as you can hate the story, and hate whatever they did with the jailer and everything, you're welcome to do that. And I'm not a big fan of it neither, and Thorghast and all of that. But I think one of the things that they did really well was, designing this. I just think it's pristine. It's incredibly nice. But we're digressing. I will put this here. Does this look pretty? Yes. Okay, so retcon. Frostmourne and the Helm of Domination were crafted by the rune carver in Thorghest. And the rune carver was enslaved by the jailer to do his bidding in the maw. Yes, I do have some fun facts about this sword, and I wanted to bring something interesting, something new. A list of the people that were killed by the Frostmourne. And I would like to start that list with King Terenas Menethil II, who was, you know, the father of Arthas Menethil. So what happened is Arthas comes home one day and he's like coming back to Lordaeron. Imagine I'm Arthas right now. He comes in, then he looks up and there's petals flowing down from the sky as he's welcomed back to his home by the loving denizens of Lordaeron. He walks up to the throne. He sees his father. He was just chilling there with his crown on his head. Just talks a bit and is like, "Hey, what are you doing, my son?" That's when Arthas picks up his sword. He's like,
"Succeeding you, father."
As one of his first deeds as, you know, the next Lich King. The king's crown falls to the ground and his ring also falls to the ground. And that marks the beginning of the tragical, you know, killing list from this fantastic Mournblade. There's actually one more fun fact over here. If you go to Lordaeron in the Undercity right now, I'm not even sure you can go there after they revamped it. But if you go there and you just wait in silence, you just sit in that room where Terenas was killed, and you put the volume to a high level, you can hear this entire role playing going around. You can hear it very low in the background. "Succeeding you, father." Try that next time you're in Lordaeron, or if tonight you don't have anything to do, just go to Undercity and you can look at that. Okay, so that was Terenas Menethil II. Another person that was killed by the Frostmourne was Uther the Lightbringer, and you can actually experience that. Let me know if I remember. Let me remember the expansion, because I think it is the Shadowlands where you actually play it through and you see the movies and, you know, the cutscenes and everything where you kill Uther. You kill Uther at Underhall, where, you know, he tells you that Arthas actually wanted to go and pick up the urn as he was ordered, but the urn contained the ashes of his father. And you know the dialogue there. Probably YouTube's gonna ban me if I say those words there, but you know, try and check the dialogue there as Uther asks Arthas what he wants to do with the ashes of his father. Yes. Okay. So that was Uther the Lightbringer being killed at Underhall, and his soul was shattered there. Yes. The third person who was killed by the Frostmourne is, of course, one and only Sylvanas Windrunner. She was killed at Quel'Thalas, and that's actually an awesome story in itself. A very long story that I'm not going to go into, but he kills her after a very long chase, and then he raises her as a banshee. Then she is controlled. Then she slips out of that control, and everything happens. She tries to kill him, tries to kill herself, jumps from Icecrown Citadel after he dies. She cannot die again. It's an awesome story. It's quite good. It's not a person, but it's a dragon that gets killed by Frostmourne, and it's Sephiron. Then Sephiron the dragon gets resurrected as the Lich King's or Arthas's dragon. One more character that we have interacted with that was killed by the Frostmourne is Dranosh Sorfang. And if you haven't heard that name, then It's the son of Varrock Sorfang, who we've been seeing a lot, and we actually got to love quite a lot as a character because he builds up and he builds up. He never has the opportunity to die, although he kind of wants it. And Dranosh is killed by the Lich King and resurrected again as a Death Knight, and then Varrock gets the opportunity to say goodbye when, you know, us the heroes kill Dranosh as a Death Knight in Icecrown Citadel. Then Varrock Sorfang keeps to grow, becomes a loved character, later killed by Sylvanas Windrunner in the same expansion. Not the last one. I was actually going to mention Drakuru because that guy just made such a good impression. It was one of the instances, Gundrak, I think it's called, if I remember right. It was just like that dialogue there was just so long, and you had a quest for it, and I had to do it with maybe 5 characters. It just seemed endless. So I remember Drakuru when he gets killed by the Lich King. One key character that also gets killed by Frostmourne is Muradin Bronzebeard, and it's indirectly killed by Frostmourne because Muradin Bronzebeard, who is the younger brother of Magni Bronzebeard, and you know who Magni is? Champion! The younger brother of Magni and the older brother of Brand Bronzebeard at the same time. Muradin Bronzebeard, if you played World of Warcraft with the human campaign and you played with the Mountain King, I think it's called, the hero there, then you'll remember Muradin Bronzebeard, because in his ultimate, whenever you use the ultimate, say it with me if you remember it. 3, 2, 1.
For Cosmodon!
You said it. Yes, thank you. So Muradin Bronzebeard also made a good impression on me. Back then it was quite awesome. You became huge. You were just not made out of stone. Nothing could touch you. It was so amazing. Warcraft 3, that was good. Okay, so the way Muradin Bronzebeard actually died is because when Arthas picked up the Frostmourne for the first time, it required a sacrifice back in Northrend. It required a sacrifice, and then Arthas just stands there, is like, I need Frostmourne. And then the spirit guardians of the sword, they're just like, yeah, but that's gonna have a high price. And then Arthas goes like, oh yeah, whatever it takes. And Muradin was right next to him, so he picks up the sword and an ice shard hits Muradin. Muradin dies, therefore making him also a victim of the Frostmourne. At the same time, when Arthas picked up Frostmourne, he had a hammer that he used before. The hammer was called the Light's Vengeance. He dropped that hammer to pick up the Frostmourne. It's quite funny actually with the hammer Light's Vengeance, because when we go on and craft another epic weapon in the same expansion, we go and pick up the Light's Hammer because it is used to forge another weapon. And if you know it, you know it. We're talking, of course, about the Shadowmourne Blade, which, by the way, I will make a review of. That's a sequel to another review. This is one of the most handy weapons to have. This is amazing, by the way. It's just amazing to wield. It just makes you feel like you want to strike something with it. And you know, it's heavy, but feels good to handle. Let's get back to Frostmourne. Okay, so now that we mentioned Muradin Bronzebeard being one of the victims of the Frostmourne, of course there have been countless victims of this, and also risen by the Lich King. Let's have a look at the sword itself and discuss it. So the sword is actually, this is one of the lightest swords that I have from the World of Warcraft universe. It's actually incredible that it's so light. It is very thin, super thin, extremely pointy though. You can actually kill a person with this one. I almost cut myself there because it's extremely pointy. So quite nice. The problem, and I'll get back to that when wielding it. But otherwise, you know, because of the weight and because of the how thin it is actually one of the most wielding swords that you can get in World of Warcraft. Feels interesting to hold. Let's put it on the weight and see how much this thing weighs. I'll bring it up here. The sword weighs 4,000 grams. 4 kilograms, for those of you watching outside of Europe, go do some calculations because we're running with centimeters and kilograms over here. So 4 kilos, quite nice, even though, you know, you're not going to be able to properly fight with this one, but you can do this. There we go. Although you get a bit exhausted by doing that. So let's see the length of this. I'm going to place it here. I have a measuring band with me, right here. From the very tip to the end, this proud example of a Frostmourne is 119 centimeters. 119 centimeters, 4 kilograms. The width at its widest point, we're looking at 28 centimeters, maybe more, 27, 270 millimeters. And thickness with the horns, or depth, is exactly 10 centimeters. So that would be the size. How about the blade length from the tip to where the blade actually ends? We are looking at 78 centimeters. 78 centimeters. So decent, lovely, dangerous. Okay. What else can we say about this? So what do we have here? We actually have the blade, which is stainless steel, and we have the runes carved on its surface. All right, let me just try and see it, if you can focus on it. Please focus. I'll just put the light on it. The runes that the rune carver put in to, you know, etch all of the magic in it. The two guards over here with even more runes etched in it, and the blade is etched here. It's actually 3D etched. You have the skull in the middle here on both sides here. I think one of the interesting details about this are the horns. So if you look at the horns, on this side they are narrower. I'm going to try to cover my face. They're narrower, whereas on this other side they're much wider. So they kind of like go and, I don't know the word for this when you do like that. They just like cross each other. That's let's say that. And then we get to the most annoying part of the Frostmourne, which is the handle. Why? I mean, I get it. They're wearing huge gloves and they're made of magic, so nothing can hurt them. But if you look at this handle over here, please focus on it, then you'll see how pointy it is. And that does not necessarily make it very comfortable to use. I mean, you can have it with your, you know, dual wielded here and here, and then you get your separation over here in the middle. But you get this straight in the middle of your palm that has spikes on it, which makes it quite, you know, annoying to hold. But you still can do it. If you learn to ignore pain and you get a priest that can give you pain suppression close by, you can definitely wield this. Or you can wear some gloves. Okay, let's put this back in here. Am I missing something? Yes, there's leather. There are leather bindings here, the same as you see on the Ashbringer. So you get some 5 millimeter wide leather strips that are just, you know, wound around the handle over here. That makes it interesting to hold. The details over here, we have some skulls over here, 4 of them to be precise, and then you got the pommel in the end. And the horns are really nicely detailed over here. Just all in all, this feels really good, and it just looks good, and all the details are there as they should be. I cannot compare it with the Epic Weapons version because I do not have that one. But as you can hear, I'm kind of out of breath while talking this, because all of these, they're heavy swords to just like, manhandle around and play with them. I mean, they're awesome, and it's really nice to play around with them. But man, at the end, you get a workout while after playing with these. Okay, should you buy this? Is this worth the money? I mean, depends on where you live and what your financial situation is. This one will probably cost you maybe 250 euros or pounds, or that's, for some people it's a lot of money. For me, it was also a lot of money, and you got to work for it. But if this is your passion, if you have some disposable income that you can spend on some collectibles, I think this is a nice sword to have. Would I take any of the others instead of it? I mean, that's personal preference. For me, the Frostmourne was the first sword that I had my eyes on when I was 10, 12 years old. So this holds a high emotional impact for me. I was just a kid back then when this one appeared from Epic Weapons. I did not have the money to buy it. I was just a kid. Couldn't ask my parents to pay for internet connection, let alone a sword. You can't. But for me, this one means a lot. It's very wieldy. It's going to stay. I'm not. It's going to be one of the last ones to go. What do you like? Are you a big fan of the story behind the Lich King? Are you a fanboy of Arthas? Do you hope he's going to come back, or is he just like a glimmer floating around in the Shadowlands? And as Sylvanas says,
you will be forgotten and no one will even remember your name.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, you haven't played Shadowlands or watched the movies. At the end of it, the cutscenes. I'd say go for it if you have the disposable income. It's a very nice sword, very wieldy, not that heavy. 4 kilos, good length, good, just a good feeling to have. The final thoughts are actually about the video, and if you think that you would like to have something else or something more in these videos, I'd really like to hear from you down in the comments. I'm trying to build some value for the community of people passionate about World of Warcraft and maybe collectibles like this, so please don't hesitate to write. I'll try and answer every single one comment. If you feel like it, you are very welcome to subscribe to the channel, because I have reviews coming for all of those. Oh, I like doing this. Yes, all of the different swords, and I'll probably do the reviews for the collector's editions as well. And I'd like to see you around there, maybe commenting, maybe liking it, discussing it with your friends. That would be actually awesome. So those being the last thoughts, I wish you a fantastic evening. Remember your rice and chicken, and remember to eat your vegetables, otherwise you cannot wield the swords like this, even if you have the money for it. So please keep safe while you're also playing and enjoying World of Warcraft, and take everything in moderation.